is sticking with the Swans as well. There's some news, and I'm gonna put some rumblings, and take this one with the take the whole salt shaker. I'll be honest with you guys. Just go over to the ocean. You guys are on the coastline. Go over to the ocean real quick and just start chugging because you're going to need some salt content for this one. And that is that Dusty Martin is all but guaranteed to be heading to the Sydney Swans next year, right? According to this very coveted was a reporting site, news site.
Oh boy, how to unwrap this particular Christmas present. My gosh. All right. So let's break this down.
I serve him up to you well.
Oh yeah, you're giving to me on a very interesting silver platter here. Okay. So no, he is not all but guaranteed to come to Sydney. According to this report, and again, I take it with a lot of grain of salt because this is the Sydney Herald, which is a Sydney-based paper that is not exactly known for its accuracy when it comes to its stories. Sometimes it's a little bit of an opinion. There's a certain news station in the States that I compared it to in my particular Twitter content in a discussion. If it offends you, I'm sorry, but that is my opinion. If you have a problem with it, well, you know what? I don't care. It's my opinion. I can have it just like you can have your opinion as well. Plain and simply, what it says is that Dusty Martin is having discussions with the Sydney Swans. Now, as a Swan supporter, I've had many people ask me this question, and I've asked many Swan supporters this. The common answer by most Swan supporters is, we're good. We don't need you, Dusty. As much as we'd love to have you, unless you're planning on taking a massive pay cut and being a guy that's going to come in and help our youngsters progress and not take their spot, we'll pass. We'll let you stay in. We'll let you stay in Victoria. You'll do fine. Or go on over to the guys over in Orange if you feel like it. Which, unfortunately, I don't think they can afford you either. So they can't. No. They have too many $1 million players currently on their list. There's no way they're going to be able to afford them.
Love the talent to wins ratio. It's
and some Richmond fans are going to get a little salty on this one again. All due respect, I'd rather have Lance than Dusty. And I understand Dusty is an incredible player, but I said this pre-camera. I said, I think both of these gentlemen are past their prime. They are still great. They're still excellent players, but they both are not in their prime anymore. They are not the players that they used to be. There is some regression in both sides. And for me, I would rather have the big, tall forward that can nurture our forwards. I think our midfield already has a solid enough leader in Joey Kennedy and Luke Parker. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about our midfielding needing help. I would rather go see if we can talk Alex Rance, the former Richmond defender, into joining the Swans, because I think that's where we would actually need much more senior leadership. Mm-hmm. For our young Swans defenders in like Justin McInerney, Nick Blakey, and Tommy McCartan. And that's been the revelation with Paddy McCartan coming back in and being that big-bodied intercept defender. So I'm one of those. Again, if they could get Dusty on a massively small contract for him, I'll say that for him. And it's not going to cost the Swans any of their youngsters. I would be okay with that. I know that's pie in the sky. Richmond fans, I know this. This is massive pie in the sky here. So I'm not even going to joke that it's possible. I don't think it is. As much as I think he wants to come up to Sydney, unless Lance retires, and by everything I'm hearing, he's happy. He wants to keep playing. I would rather have Lance than Dusty. And again, I know for some people that's ludicrous discussion. I'd rather have Lance if I'm being 100% honest with myself, because I like what Lance is doing currently. I don't think
that's a crazy take, because with one of these things, it's simple. You want to know what we can do, Donnie, right now? We're going to get a list. Just good old fashioned. When you have a dilemma, what do? Break out the pros cons list. All right, let's see here. My handy dandy notepad. So pros. Generational talent, that's the future Hall of Famer. Yes. Winning experience. Yes.
Great team guy with a great field kick.
Yeah, we'll do that. He'll He'll bring the
Puts
media with him.
puts butts
Wait,
on
no,
puts
no, no.
butts
That's
on
a con.
seats.
That's a hardcore con. I hate the media. So he doesn't need that. Cons, shit ton of money. Might take the ball away from young players. Shit ton of money. We'll put that one twice to emphasize how much money it is. And also, I don't think that the fit's there when it comes to, even like I was telling you earlier, even if say these guys were exactly the same position, exactly the same talent level, exactly the same money, I would still side with Lance just because there's one thing Buddy has that Dusty Martin will never have, and that is a lot of experience with this current Swans team. And that is irreplaceable. You can't put, it's hard to put a numerical value on that. I think if they were to have a perfect situation where they could somehow make this work, then cool. But let's be real.
Oh, and again, I said it's pie in the sky because I mean, is there ever going to be a possible way that you could get Dusty Martin and Buddy Franklin on minimal money and they both take it? Now, I think there's some people that would be crazy enough to think it's possible. And if Buddy wants to continue to play and he wants to win a flag, there are pros over here that have done it tons of times. I mean, I know you don't like discussing it because you're a Broncos fan, but how many guys were in the latter part of their careers and they took pennies to go play with Tom Brady and the Patriots during the Patriots run? How many times did that happen? You don't see it as much in the AFL.
Look, the Bucks too. The Bucks recently as well. Just put Richard Sherman out there. He's one of those guys.
But it'd be very, very interesting to see that potentially happen. Like to see Dusty Martin go, you want to know what? I'll play for $300,000 as long as I can play. I mean, I know that's not going to happen.
So here we go.
I know it's not going to happen.
Plays for a very team-friendly deal where they can make this happen without having to drop or trade away their young stars that they're building this team upon. Would you consider the Swans to be finals or to be flag favorites next season? They have Lance, they have Dusty, they have everyone in place right now. All they do is add.
Oh, if they add Dusty to this already team with no losses, are they a finals or flag contender? Yes,
they're contenders, but are they?
I think they are. I mean, think about a forward line at one time of having Lance Franklin at the full forward or even center half forward if you wanted to, with Tommy Papley and Isaac Heaney as your pockets, and then Dusty Martin, Luke Parker, Dusty Martin, Luke Parker, and any combination of Sam Wicks, Will Hayward, James Bell. That's scary because who do you guard?
Sounds ridiculous.
Who do you take? Because as soon as you take one, 4 others are free. Because there's no way you're going to have 4 solid defenders. I mean,
sounds like the perfect AFL fantasy team right there.
It's a scary team offensively. And think about this: is that Luke Parker can go into the midfield and rotate off with James Rowbottom, with McInerney, with Warren. I mean, Chad Warner's in there. You've got Callum Mills, who's playing out of his skin this year. So that's kind of how scary that, again, I know this is pie in the sky. I don't think this is going to happen, but it is interesting to think about that. Would Dusty take a mega small deal to play with the Swans? And then would there be any fallout from it? Like, would there be a player that would go? I don't think it's going to be easy. There are still some free agents that need to be signed. And the biggest question is, does Lance resign? If Lance doesn't, here's the other option I've heard. Lance retires. Lance doesn't decide to play. He decides to retire. Does Dusty come in and basically take his contract? That's the only other way I can see Dusty getting into Sydney is if Lance is gone. If Lance goes, there's also the possibility Lance is Western Australian. If he decides to go play for Freo or West Coast, which Fremantle would probably be. Fremantle would be the one I think he'd fit the best in because I think he would be able to step in for Rory Lobb sounds like he's been wanting out of the West Coast for 2 or 3 years now. So you drop him, you bring in Buddy on minimal money just because he wants to be back in his home state.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I see Dusty coming in, is if Lance leaves. But everything I'm hearing, Lance loves it in Sydney. He doesn't have to worry about being in the fishbowl of Melbourne, and he's playing great footy. He wants to continue, and he wants to continue with Sydney because he's kind of attached to these young players. Like, again, I've stated it a couple of times in the podcast. Watch Sydney games, and one of the first guys to a guy that kicks a goal that isn't Buddy Franklin is usually Buddy Franklin. When he's on the field, if Tommy Papley kicks a goal, Lance Franklin's one of the first there. If Isaac Keeney kicks a goal, Lance Franklin's one of the first ones that's there. James Bell, Sam Wicks, Will Hayward, Luke McDonald, Sam Reed, Peter Laddams, any of the forwards kick a goal, Buddy's usually one of the first two guys to him. So he gets excited. Like, he's very much become a team guy. I mean,
I love it. I love it so much.
I agree with what one person said. He was almost going out of his way to find teammates in this game against Essendon. And it was scary watching his field kick. I mean, everybody's used to his long goals kicking and all that.
Vision is ridiculous.
He has got a very good field kick. He's an underrated field kicker, very, very accurate. So
that's what happens when you kick 1,000 goals in your career. People just kind of think you're a goal kicker, and everything else gets overshadowed no matter how good you are.
Exactly.
Buddy, bro, I love him.
So,
I love watching him. He's so much fun to watch. Just in every aspect of the game. In interviews, he's just like as close as you can get to like a perfect player.
I don't know.
I guess that might be going over a little bit overboard.
I don't know about perfect.
But he's amazing.
I don't know about perfect.
To watch, to follow, is terms of captain, being team leadership, play, helping your player, assisting everyone around you, being just a killer yourself, being a coach to everyone. And also he's just entertaining. Literally the showman, the greatest showman.
I agree with what one announcer even said, is that he's kind of like the LeBron James of the AFL. He does things you're not expecting for his size. For a guy that's 6'6", 220, he's quick as a hiccup, he's strong as a bull ox, and he's absolutely incredibly athletic. He is a freak of nature. He's not something that you expect. Because of his size and athleticism, that he does things guys half his size sometimes can't even do. So it's one of those, he is this unique enigma, and he has been such a blessing to the game. And the fact that he's an Indigenous player and he's accepted his Indigenous heritage, and he does so many things for the Indigenous culture, both on and off the pitch, is absolutely outstanding. It's another thing that I think has been fantastic about the Sydney Swans, is that they really have helped the Indigenous boys that have come through the club really kind of stay connected to the Indigenous culture, which is absolutely fantastic. Speaking of that, we'll have to talk about it next week. Check out the Indigenous jumpers for the Sir Douglas Nichols.
Bit of a clash we got going on.
They are absolutely sick. Cannot wait to see these jumpers on.
They're great for photos. Maybe not so much for gameplay and TV viewing. I guess maybe even harder if you're there in person. It was the Richmond and Essendon one.
Richmond and Essendon are both wearing black, so I don't think they're both going to be wearing their Indigenous jumper for Dreamtime. I don't think they could.
I don't think it's possible, but that would be great. But Buddy Franklin, even more impressive than everything we just listed, somehow the only big man that could pull off the all the way up socks. So shout out to him because he's amazing.